Another name I call it is the disengagement war.
Yeah.
Another name I call it as a joke is the Amazon War, because there's so much stuff being sent to Israel right now. So I call it the Amazon War, but that's just a little dark humor.
Okay, well, speaking of which, there's wars being fought on many fronts right now for Israel, and there's the actual war that our Israeli soldiers are fighting, and then there are the wars that we're having right here in America, the media wars. And with a background in media and journalism, could you talk about the wars here in America? What war are we fighting, and what are the odds here? I mean, we have media wars and like ambiguous conversations. There maybe we know who the enemy is. Here, maybe it's not so clear.
Well, it's clear it's anti-Semitism.
It's anti-Semitism, but it's like
but
it's more.
What is the underlying?
Obscure. Yeah. So tell us about your.
Well, your question is spot on, I think, in my opinion. I think it's the first thing is to understand the enemy is smart. The enemy is serious. Respect the enemy. That's my posture. My attitude is the enemy is very smart, not joking around. They came to play. And that's an important posture, because a lot of times Jews poo-poo the other side. They think they're nobodies. They think they're dumb. They have all kinds of derogatory names.
Interesting. Respect the enemy.
Respect the enemy. Respect them more than take a posture that the enemy is smart, just as smart as you, devious and cunning and serious. That's my whole attitude towards the enemies, and it goes back to being tactical. I don't think of them as a joke. I think of them as quite serious, maybe more ready for war than we are. And it could very well be that this war in Israel, this attack, was actually meant to achieve a completely different goal than people understand. It could very well be that the inhumane and dastardly acts that they did was in order to force Israel to fight this war, and then to use that moment to besmirch Israel's name throughout the world and to weaken its connection throughout the world. Especially, there was a budding movement called the Abraham Accords, which was going to lead to a normalization with Saudi Arabia. Israel was going to be an Abrahamic country along with its Ishmaelite Arab brothers and cousins in our family, in our broader Semitic family. This war, very well thought out by the Iranians, has thrown a wrench into that whole thing. Israel's once again isolated from the Arab world, and isolated in part in the West as well. There are many countries that have broken diplomatic ties, especially in South American countries. And it could very well be that the point of this whole war was not to achieve the killing of 1,200 people. It was much more to elicit a reaction from Israel, to cause it to kill a lot of Palestinians, Arabs, and then separate it from the other Arab countries, and then cause all these problems in America, and to isolate Israel for a future destructive war. So these guys are smart and thought out. And we're seeing that play out here. These guys waited very much until the campus was ready, until the right kind of president was in power here. It wouldn't have worked under a Trump. It had to be under an Obama-Biden type of presidency. And the timing was right. I'm talking about from a tactical point of view on their side.
So you think they thought about all that?
I think so. And anyway, that's my posture. I don't like to denigrate or belittle my enemy. I think of him as smart and very much, and Iranians are smart. They're an ancient civilization, known to be, cunning and chess-like. So yeah. So now you're fighting that, and suddenly campus is messed up. Suddenly there's all these people with the right kinds of posters, saying the anti-Israel things, and from the river to the sea, and they're all chanting it. And suddenly they're in Congress, shutting down Congress. Yet they seem not to be.
You think that's smart? Like that they're not. I mean, to me, that doesn't seem smart to be chanting that and not looking at the whole picture.
They are winning over a lot of young people. They
Maybe
win
they're
over,
smart in that way.
They win over Black America. It's known that the young Americans see Hamas as fighting for their rights, and all the stuff that they did was, they also see the power. Violence is there's something carnal in it all. There's something that's attractive in it all. It's not. We Jews think that like when you show what awful stuff they did, everybody's disgusted by it. No, that's a mistake.
For some reason, they're not.
There is a carnal instinct in this world. It's primordial. There's something about the stuff which is, and we have to understand that.
They're only disgusted by us going to war, but not.
Though aren't they genius like that? When they strike us and mutilate and kill, then they still come out victorious. And then when we kill them back, we're suddenly these horrible aggressors. You see, they win on both sides of the coin. They're very smart like that, and we have to understand that. And one more thing, and this is a final point on this, which is tribalism. Tribalism is a powerful instinct in humanity. We never talk about that, but they're like, they are doing tribal warfare against us. I say we have to say very clearly the other side of that has to be, this is our tribal lands. A different tribe is trying to do an incursion into our land. We're pushing that other tribe back. We have to talk in the language of tribalism as well, because it's a very powerful language, but they are...
How do you define tribalism?
Middle East, Africa, these are the tribal peoples on their ancestral tribal lands. That's what we are. We're an ancestral tribe on our lands. A different tribe is trying to make an incursion into our land. They're creating all kinds of fake narratives, and we have to push them back. We have to push back on their narrative and push back on their physical takeover of our land. And our governments have made the mistake of giving away our land to the enemy and giving away the narrative. They've given the narrative as though these people have some kind of right to this land. Not that Palestinianism is a completely created identity, recently created in order to fight Israel, that there is no history of Palestine, and that this is historically our ancestral land, and that we're going to fight for it, and we'll never give it away. We'll never talk about dividing Jerusalem. You talk about dividing Jerusalem, you look like a spineless nothing in the eyes of the Arab and the eyes of the world. And that's what the Rebbe meant. He said, very carefully, listen to what he was saying. He said, not that giving away land is dangerous, even talking about it endangers the life, because it gives a sense that it's not our land.
Yeah.
He was absolutely right about that.
And this is where we are now because
That's
of
right.
that.